on, take your rightful spot at the bima and take a deep breath, because we have started this Shabbat service, and that it includes your Bat Mitzvah, which you have been working on for a very long time. Every one of our students works really hard for a long time, including your sister, just a few years ago. But you've worked extra long because your original date for your Bat Mitzvah was almost exactly a year ago. And I know it was really important for you and your family to try to get to a place where you could have your Bat Mitzvah here in this sanctuary, in this synagogue. And circumstances worked to the point where it is safe enough now to take those steps to come back here. And I want you to know that not only is a wonderful group of your inner circle here, of course, your parents and sister and Grandma Cookie and a few other relatives, but out there in internet land, a whole wider circle of family, including your other grandma, and friends are watching with love and pride, and members of our congregation who might not even know you and your family, but who are, first of all, proud of you, and second of all, I'm sure are amazed to see this sanctuary, which has been closed for 14 months. And so it is really an honor and a privilege to be sharing this space with you. And Leslie Kaplan and I haven't been this close in proximity for all that time. And Rabbi Daniel is producing with a wonderful volunteer named Will, and Rabbi Karen is watching. So there is so much to be filled up with on this Shabbat. And so I'm going to start with just a little bit of a preparation music, inspiration and getting ready for the holiness of Shabbat and the holiness of this moment, this Bat Mitzvah moment. So this is just a nigun, a melody with no words, that I hope that those of you, our minyan, literally, that's here, can try to sing along. You don't even need to know English to sing a nigun. Just you need spirit, and you need breath, and you need your voices. So sing with us here at CRC, and everybody that is watching at home and participating, sing with us from where you are as we rejoice in Shabbat and in Josephine's Bat Mitzvah. So we just had Shavuot, where we were counting from Passover to the holiday of Shavuot. And in a way, we've been counting for a long time up to this moment. You have been, of course. We have been in our congregation. And so we just want to pause. A lot of the service is about pausing, right? So that events don't rush by us. And that's kind of what Shabbat, the root of Shabbat is stop. It means stop. So we stop right before we launch into this service, before you receive your talis and start to lead us in prayer. We stop to give thanks for being alive, for this morning, for being here. So whatever it is, those of you here are thankful for right now, and whatever it is that those of you who are watching us from near and far are thankful for right now. This is Modeh Ani. It's on page 2. The Siddur that Josephine and her family put together is available on our website. Some of us have physical copies, but it's also a PDF. If you go to centralreform.org, go click on live stream, you'll see Josephine's Bat Mitzvah Siddur. And in that Siddur is really the opening prayer of every morning service. Modeh Ani, Moda Ani. We are filled with gratitude for all of our blessings, even amidst the challenges. Modeh Ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechazarta v'nishmati b'chamla, rabba emunatecha, Modeh Ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechazarta b'nishmati b'chamla, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha. Amen. And so, Josie, as you lead this service and prepare to chant Torah and to be an inspiration to our whole community, which is now worldwide because of the World Wide Web, not to intimidate you or anything, but it's kind of, it's exciting. I am pleased to ask your mom and your dad to come up to the bima and present you with your talit, the prayer shawl, which will, we hope, remind you that you are embraced not only by everyone who loves you, but by the Jewish tradition, which is also part of what we hope is going to bring meaning and comfort into your life. And so the talit is right here, and don't know if you want to say a few words about that particular talis.
This talis was your grandfather's talis, and I know he would be very proud to have you wear it, and I know he is very proud watching you today.
He's crying more than I am.
And you guys can help here. You guys can help Josephine. There it goes, right there. Perfect. And you guys stay up here, and Josephine, get comfortable with that, with your grandfather, a blessed memories talit. Really perfect. And come up and read the blessing for the mitzvah of wearing a talis to help lead the service.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
We say amen, and you can get a little nachas from your mom and dad, however you define that. And we're continuing on page 3 with, I guess, prayers and songs of celebration for holy moments, for Mah Tovu, for how good are the moments we are privileged to share with one another. Hi, la, 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 la. You guys can clap your hands if you want. Stop your feet. Hinei Mah Toy manayim. Shabbat gam yachad. Hinei Mah Toy manayim. Shabbat gam yachad. Hinei Mah Toy, Hinei Mah Toy. Ya la 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 la. Hinei Mah Toy, Hinei Mah Toy. Ya la 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 la. Hinei Mah Toy manayim. Shabbat gam yachad. Hinei Mah Toy manayim. Shabbat gam yachad.
Please chant together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmao. Blessed be the eternal our God, who has created me in your image.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who provides clothes for the needy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten leya'ef koach. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who gives strength to the weak. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher hechin mitzadei gaver. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who guides the steps of human beings.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash
Shmei Rabbah, B'yama divra kerotev yamlich nachutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, v'chayedechol beit Yisrael, Bagala, bagala, uvizman kari, v'meru, amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach, Le'olam u'me'omaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitchomam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithaleh, v'yithalal, Shemei v'Keddusha, B'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'meru, amen.
There's a moment where we have to choose whether to be silent or stand up. Please rise as we call each other to prayer with the Baruch Hu.
As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And our blessings give us strength and make our visions clear, and our blessings give us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la. Ya la la. The source of life, so we
cast the darkness, we must supply our own light. Baruch
Atah
atah Adonai
Eloheinu
Eloheinu
melech
melech
haolam,
haolam, Yotzer
Or uvarei chosha, osei shalom uvarei et hakol, ha'me'ir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha berachamim, uvtuvo mekadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mal'a ha'aretz kinyanecha. Tit barach Adonai Eloheinu, al shavach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al ma'orei or sha'asita, yifa'arucha sela. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMorot.
Together. In some special way, every person completes the universe.
If I do not play my part, I injure the pattern of all existence. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death, in ebb and flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood this moment.
No connection can ever be broken if love holds tight at both ends. Please join me in chanting the Shema. Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. Veehavta et melhecha
B'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlektecha v'derech uvshokbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvihisharecha leman tizkeru v'yasitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitam kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Together. You shall love your God. You shall love Adonai, your God,
With all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these words which I command you this day.
Teach them
To
gently
your children. Speak of them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you arise. Bind them as a sign on your hand. Let them serve as symbols between your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Remember to do all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your God.
I know that we are a people who have crossed many seas. In every service, we remember the price of freedom is often great as we sing the same words that our ancestors sang after crossing from slavery to freedom at the shores of another sea.
A song of liberation, big, small and big, right? The big liberation moment, like the one that this comes from the Torah, the liberation from slavery and all the liberation movements from that point forward. We think about freedom in that way. And then those, sort of personal ways that we can get unstuck. And I know, like, you're, in a sense, Josephine, it's not, I don't always say to a Bat Mitzvah that you're about to enter high school, right? So there's a certain element of freedom there, just sort of a new way of being and kind of reaching into that independent spirit that we know you have and maturity that you'll need because freedom isn't just about anything goes. Freedom brings with it responsibility. And one of those responsibilities for those of us who can get free when we get free is to make sure that we are part of freedom for all if and when they need it. And so all of that kind of leads us to this moment in the service, which is an excerpt from the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, the song of exclamation and of joyfulness, ecstatic joy, and of course, of liberation and freedom. Here we go. Oh, we got a music stand.
Yeah.
We're in business.
More high tech.
I lie, 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 ya 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 lie, 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 ya lie, 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 ya lie, 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 ya lie, 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 lie. Ya lai lai lai, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, norat hilot osei fele, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai. We are on page 13.
Please rise. All the scars on my body, all the bumps and bruises, all the muscles, that is the story of everything that I have done, and it is not just my story. My ancestors who came before me gave me this vessel to sculpt and to mold.
Beautiful. We sculpt and we mold, and we sculpt and we mold again. This is the beginning of the part of the prayer service known as tefillah, prayer itself. La 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 sifatai tiftach. Ya la 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 ufi yagi tehilatecha. La 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 ya Adonai. Ya la 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 sifatai tiftach. La 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 ufi yagi tehilatecha. La 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 ya Adonai. Ya la 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 sifatai tiftach. Ya la 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 ufi yagi tehilatecha. La 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 sifatai tiftach. Ya la 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 ufi yagi tehilatecha. Ya la 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 sifatai tiftach. Ya la 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 ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevik Ula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
Together. Praise be the God of our ancestors,
The God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, of Sarah, of Rebekah, of Leah, and of Rachel. Praise be the source of strength and courage, the source of kindness and good deeds. Praise be the source of gentleness and love, of softness and kind words. Praise be the person who transcends strength through gentleness. Praise be the person who perfects gentleness through strength. Praise be the person who acts according to the best that is within. Praise be the person who reaches out to touch the best in others. Praise be the gentle faithfulness of Abraham and the valiant strength of Sarah. Praise be the God who infused humanity with divine potential.
Speak your mind, even if your voice shakes. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol ata rav lechoshia.
Mechakel chayim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umidol melach, Melech Meni Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'aman Ata L'Hachayot Hakol Baruch Ata Adonai Mechaye Hakol. And we are on page 16 and 17. Keddusha, which just means holiness. And so we do everything we can to fill in the spaces between us. The spaces between us here in the sanctuary, but even maybe more important, because it's harder, the spaces between all of us who are part of this service, wherever you are. And really what we hope and pray is to Sunday be able to fill in the spaces between all humanity with Keddusha, with holiness.
Kashem shemakdishim oto b'shmi marom kagatu hayan v'yecha v'karze ve'amar kadosh 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 Adonai tzevaot melech haaretz.
seated. There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is though everything is a miracle.
He was a smart guy, Albert Einstein. Sorry. Anyway, he was. But, I guess that last part about living as though everything is a miracle, it's not always easy, right? And it's forgivable if we can't always get to that place. But we hope that Shabbat is one of those times that we really can feel like everything is somehow a miracle. And that way, when we go back into the world of the week, everything we have to do and work and study and school, we have some of that sort of knowledge in our bones that we can kind of fill ourselves with as much radical awe as we can and really see miracles everywhere. So Shabbat helps us do that and so many other things. As I told Josie before the service, or maybe I told everybody, it's a pause. A pause to take a breath, to renew our souls, and to, we hope, renew the heart of the whole wide world. And so we sing Veshamru from the Torah as well. That reminds us that if we keep Shabbat, Shabbat will keep us.
Guys, we're singing with you, not at you. Okay? Sing along. I'm singing down in your key, not up in mine. So sing along.
I forgot my keys. No, just...
I've got mine.
Okay.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael.
HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat le'doratam berit olam Veshamru b'nei Yisrael HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat le'doratam berit olam.
Le'olam Veshamru
V'nei Yisrael HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat le'doratam berit olam.
Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai
Et hashamayim Veshamru V'nei Yisrael HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat le'doratam berit olam. U'v'yom hashvi Shabbat v'inafash Shabbat v'inafash Veshamru V'nei Yisrael HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat le'doratam berit olam le'doratam berit olam.
It isn't enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. And it isn't enough to believe in it. One must work at it.
Amen. So, one of the words that is repeated most often in Jewish prayer is shalom. And not just a prayer, I think an encouragement to do everything we can to work for peace, to be peacemakers with our allies. Peace is, the Jewish religion doesn't certainly not own the concept of peace. We hope that every tradition worth its salt, is praying and working for peace. And we sing this at a Shabbat after the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. And, there's lots to say about that, and it's very complicated. And there's time for working through that. But suffice it to say that that we have to be filled with gladness that there's peace right now, and that bombing has stopped and the killing has stopped, and we mourn for the victims, all the victims, and we continue to pray for the wisdom and the compassion and the strength, maybe paradoxically, but the strength that is needed to make peace, to make shalom. And so I'm going to sing on page, we're going to sing on page 20, O Say Shalom, and then we'll go back to the wonderful silent meditation that Josie provided for us. We'll talk about that in a second, but here's O Say Shalom. The one that makes peace in the heavens, we hope and pray, helps us be peacemakers here on earth. O say shalom, bimromav, hu yahaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. O say shalom, bimromav, hu yahaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel, ve'imeru amen. Oh, say shalom, bimromav, hu yahaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel, ve'imeru amen. Oh, say shalom, bimromav, hu yahaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol oh Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Amen. So we give ourselves a little bit of a moment for silent prayer and meditation and reflection. You can look back through the prayers in the prayer book, the quotations and kavanot that Josie and her family provided. You can kind of put out there into the universe your own hopes and prayers, and really beautifully chosen, Josephine, this incredible poem that was read at the inauguration back in January. Feels like, 2 decades ago, but it was just a few months ago, really, by this amazing young poet, Amanda Gorman. So go ahead and read through that, and however you want to spend this time, because we are preparing, Josie, for the Torah service. And I know you are ready, and we are ready. So let's give ourselves a little bit of silent time, and then we'll be back with the Torah service. All right, I think we're there. So, we did have a Bat Mitzvah a couple of weeks ago, which was the first one in this sanctuary in a very long time. It was, though, not streamed, but it was the first time for many, many, many months that we've read from the Torah in here. We've had wonderful bar and Bat Mitzvahs, and I want to make sure I mention this because they really have been, that have been done from people's homes. And we have a traveling Torah that we're so grateful for that has been used so that, we could still have bar and bat mitzvahs through this pandemic and do them in a safe way and still be able to hear Torah and learn Torah from our own homes. But this is significant. We're going to bring out, we bring out 2 Torahs, and I'll explain why. I think some of you already know why. But I'm going to ask everyone to please stand. And I don't know, Josie, you want to open the ark? You did this for your sister, It's a little bit of a different situation. I mean, I guess you could, you know what? Let's do turnabout's fair play. Cooper, you want to come up and open the ark? Usually it's the younger sibling if there is one, but hey, things are unprecedented, right? We can bend the rules a little bit. So go ahead and open the ark. And then stay up here because I'm going to have you up here anyway in a second. And then I'm going to ask your grandma Cookie and your mom and dad to join us. So let's see. Cooper, you're right next to Josephine, like on this side, like closest to me. And then you guys, we'll see. Come on up. Cookie, you'll be right here by the music stand. Yeah, and then Jeff and Susan, you'll be next to Cooper. I don't know. You know, when we have a full house, everyone can't hear you, but we can all hear you. Just want you to know.
That's okay.
And I think these here. I'm gonna go right.
Okay.
All right. Yep. You good?
Yeah.
All right. So Josie, look at this wonderful lineup here. You know, this is door by door, generation to generation. You guys are the same generation, but you know, Cooper got there before you to Bat Mitzvah. And you know, this is an incredible group of people, your sister and your parents and your grandma, but they also symbolize others, you know, people that couldn't be here and people who are no longer here. That line, you know, could go way out to across the street to the church and beyond, right? So that's, you know, one of the things we're passing to you when we pass you Torah, is sort of Torah with a small t, a small top, right? Everybody's wisdom and their experience that has kind of filled you up and helped make you who you are. That's their Torah being transferred to you. And, you know, we know even before Bat Mitzvah, Josie, you have your own Torah too. And it's just sort of like it's kind of a weaving of all this, of these folks and other folks and your own neshama. But this is the generation to generation passing you small top Torah. But there's also big top Torah, which is the Torah scroll, you know, the actual Torah scroll, which you've been learning to read from all these months and now years to get ready for this Bat Mitzvah, this sort of delayed, but, you know, wonderful Bat Mitzvah. So there's the physical Torah that contains the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible that we keep in the ark and that we treat with love and tenderness. We're passing that to you as well. And of course, you know, before we had to close down temporarily, we told the story to every single bar and bat mitzvah about this specific Torah, which I think you know is a survivor of the Holocaust. This Torah came from a small village in Czechoslovakia that became occupied by the Nazis like all the other parts of Czechoslovakia, and the people, the Jews, were rounded up, and few, if any, survived. But the Torah survived, and now there are all over the world, and especially in this country, there are survivor scrolls, and we feel a huge responsibility to tell its story, since we, you know, are so proud to have this Torah, which survived when so many wonderful people did not. And to tell you that Torah is a great joy. You know, it's mitzvahs and it's stories and, you know, values. And I hope that when you hold the Torah, you can feel all of that. But you know, like everything, it also is a great responsibility. The fact that we survived to continue reading from the story and living by the best of Torah values when many did not because of just hatred. That is a responsibility. But you're not alone. You have allies, you have family, you have friends, Jewish and not Jewish, who are here to help make sure that we can continue to live by our interpretations of Torah. It's another tough time, you know, and I think you know that, for lots of reasons. And, you know, even, and certainly nowhere near the scale that this Torah lived through at that time. But it's a tough time, and we have to really redouble our efforts as Jews and others to talk about love and peace and tolerance and goodness. And you do that already. And now as a Bat Mitzvah, you'll do it with a voice boosted by authority and by learning and by experience. And so, Josie, it's such a privilege as one of your rabbis, a friend of your family, to hand this Torah to your grandma Cookie, who's got the best grandma name. I think you just call it, do you just call her Cookie, or do you call her just Cookie? No, Grandma
Just
Cookie.
Cookie.
I mean, that's even better than Grandma Cookie. Cookie. Cookie, to your parents, to your sister who became Bat Mitzvah here. I remember it. Just feels like a minute ago. And love that you're probably wearing that Star of David around your neck. And then to you, because you're about to teach us your Torah. So Cookie, and to your dad, and your mom, your big sister, who will put the Torah in your arms. Got it? All right. Now you come join me again. You guys stay back there. And so these will be moments of deep listen and learning. Please chant for us again the words of Shema Yisrael.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Amen. And I'm going to take this Torah from you. I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and take your seats. You'll be up here just in a little bit. But I'm going to take the Torah you're going to actually read from. You got your own yad.
Yes, I do.
And we'll talk about that in a second. Everybody can now be seated. Here, just here. You can just put that like kind of on the lip. Just hang it there. Yep. Okie dokie. There we go. This Torah too is special. The cover has the words tikkun on it, which is of course our word for repair. And we use it in the wonderful phrase, tikkun olam, our desire and hope and commitment to be part of the repair of the whole world. So that's part of the responsibility of Bat Mitzvah as well. Let me just give myself a little room here. Okay, I think we got it. You see your spot? And actually, so a few words about the portion. First of all, the portion Josephine's chanting from is easy to find because it's the first book, the first portion, the very beginning of the book of Numbers, Bamidbar. And although the Torah isn't broken up, the scrolls are broken up by chapters and, just sort of words, there is a space always, a big space, a rather large space between the end of one book and the beginning of the other, and you can see it right there. So it wasn't hard to find your spot in the Torah. And what's interesting, I guess, about it is that this is the portion you worked on for your original date, and we're only one off, right? This week's Torah portion of this week is Naso, and so it tells me that basically we're a year, almost exactly, removed from that original date, at least on the Hebrew calendar. I think pretty similar on the American calendar as well. Yeah. So we are going to be hearing words of last week's Torah portion, but that's okay. You can't hear it enough, and especially the beginning of a book of Torah, that's a really auspicious portion to get. Feels like everything is sort of fresh, and we're just getting ready to learn all that's in Bamidbar, all that there is for us to learn in the wilderness and the books, the portions that comprise Bamidbar. And so that's the story of who you were working, where you're reading from Bamidbar. And your tutor was Golda? Golda. So Golda, if you're out there, pretty awesome. Thank you for studying with Josephine and helping her get to this moment. And I'm sure she would thank you back, because every relationship, every teaching relationship is a two-way street. So I know that she learned from you just like you learned from her. You also have a yad. I want you to show everyone here and also watching from home. It's a beautiful yad, a gift from Cookie, correct?
Yes.
And so I know a yad means hand. It's a tool we use to read from the Torah without touching the Torah. But it's another way your grandma's giving you a hand, like she has, I'm sure, your whole entire life. And so we're going to move forward with hearing words from this portion. I'm going to bring people up who I think you know and love well for aliyot to come up and make the blessings that surround the chanting of Torah. The first aliyah is your Aunt Ruth. I'm going to call her to the Torah using her Hebrew name. Ta'amod Rachel Bat Berolev Ve'Yehudit Aliyah LeTorah Rishona. All right, Ruth. And you need that?
Yes.
Yeah, and go ahead and do the blessing.
Thank you. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamrach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai. Where am I?
You're fine.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher barchar banu ikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'Torah.
Go ahead, Joe.
וידבר ענן במושב מדבר סיני באוהל מועד באחד לחודש השני בשנה השנית לצאתם מארץ מצרים לאמור שאו את ראש כל הדת בני ישראל למשפחתם לבית אבותם במספר שמות כל זכר לגולגלתם מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא what? Let's see. I lost my spot. בישראל תפקדו אותם לציב אותם אתה ואהרון.
There you go. And Aunt Ruth, the blessing after. Let's see. There it is.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah temed, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Nicely done. And why don't you stay up here, but make room for the rest of the gang, because now, again, we're going to ask the inner circle, right? Mom and Dad and Cooper. I'm going to call them up with their sacred names for the second aliyah. Ya'amdu Moshe Chaim ben Avraham v'Sara v'Shena Adina bat Berolev v'Yehudit v'Yafa Katria bat Moshe Chaim v'Shena Adina. This is your mishpacha, your family. Aliyah, come on, surround Josephine. Aliyah Sheni. Baruch Adonai Hamrach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamrach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Birchem yiyu ish ish lamata ish rosh leveit avotov hu ve'ela shemot hanashim asher ya'amdu itchem liruven elitzur ben Shador Leshimon Shalumiel ben Tushadai.
Perfect. All right, and you guys, the blessing after on page 22.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Shikoach, beautiful. I'm going to ask, let's see, that Ruth and Cooper, if you guys will take a seat and have your mom and dad stay up here. Yashikoach. We make a healing prayer early for the siren, for help and healing. Beautiful job so far, Josie. You're doing great. Take another deep breath. And I do want to remind everyone, you've probably found it, but if you're following along at home, the passage from the Torah portion that Josephine's been chanting so beautifully is on page 22 in both Hebrew and the English translation. And so this is another singular moment, another holy moment in a morning of holy moments, which is the moment that I have the privilege of calling you to the Torah for the first time. You know, that's what Bat Mitzvah is. You've been our Torah chanter this whole time, but this is the time you're called to the Torah for an Aliyah, and that's really what creates you becoming Bat Mitzvah, a daughter of this tradition, who I know will bring everything that's meaningful to you, everything that you learn and everything you'll continue to learn about the Jewish tradition, and bring it into your life as you go forward on this path you're on of becoming, you know, your best self as a independent and mature teenager that you're becoming. That I know that part of what's going to help ground you and help inspire you and, you know, help keep you on a good path will be the Judaism that is kind of inside of you now. So it's really a privilege for me to be one of your rabbis and to call you to the Torah as you become Bat Mitzvah here in our sanctuary that we've been missing so much. And thanks for bringing us here, bringing us together. And I know, Josephine, it wasn't about, you know, I'm sure it would have been nice to have all the bells and whistles, you know, but that's not what it was about from you. You really wanted to be here in this spot. It didn't matter if there was 10 people or 1,000. And here we are. So I want you to kind of breathe it in and don't let it go by too fast. Just kind of, you know, really be in the moment here. But I'm going to use your just beautiful Hebrew name. I'm not going to talk much about names because that's what you're going to do. But you're hearing a string of names from Josephine. That's a little hint in the Torah portion. But this is your name, your Hebrew name, Yocheved Bina. It's got the word kavod in there, which means honor and glory. It's got the word Bina, which means understanding. All the things that are part of you. And it's got your parents' names as part of your Hebrew name. It's a great tradition. So here we go. Ta'amod Yocheved Bina Bat Moshe Chaim V'Shena Adina Aliyah Torah Bat HaMitzvah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Finish it up.
Lihuda Nachshon ben Aminadav. Li Zachar Nathanael ben Tuar. Li Zvulun Eliav ben Chelam.
There you go. And the blessing after. Can't I do this? I did this before. It's right there.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And well done. Go turn around and get some more nachas from your parents. Oh, wonderful. And great job. You can have a seat. You're not quite done yet, though. But we do want to even take a pause in the midst of this Torah service. With the Torah open into the book of Bamidbar, we use this as an opportunity, this amazing opening you provided for us with your beautiful chanting, and just how proud we are of your learning and your commitment to pray for healing for those people who are struggling, who are ill, who need what we call refuah shlema, healing of mind, body, and or spirit. So think about the people in your lives that could use the benefits of these joyful moments, and let it be part of their healing. And so Leslie is going to sing Misha Berach, the prayer on page 23 that says, may the source of healing that blessed those who came before us continue to bless us, and especially those who need healing.
Anybody want to mention a name? Somebody they're praying for? I'm praying for Andy Neiman.
Amen.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Makor HaBracha Le'imoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Makor HaBracha Le'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaKolim. Blessed is the Holy One who helps us find ways, all of us, of bringing healing to those who are sick. Amen. So Josephine, every Torah portion has a portion from the books of the prophets that are matched up specifically to each Torah portion. Books of the prophets, and the prophet the words from the prophet Hosea were matched up with Bamidbar, and so we're going to be hearing you chant from Hosea, and then give your Devar Torah, your commentary, kind of wrapping all this up and what it means to you, what you want it to mean to us. So before Josephine starts with the blessing before the Haftorah, which is on page 24, you can find also the Haftorah on page 24. So in a little explanation, since this is our first time back at the sanctuary, just for those people who are watching, which is in terms of what's evolving as our rules, as we sort of start to emerge back in the sanctuary, is that we're kind of doing the 2 out of the 3, or the rule. If you're fully vaccinated and you're at distance, you can remove your mask. The Josephine's family that is here has done that if they're in that category. But if you're in close proximity to someone who isn't fully vaccinated, Josephine's getting there, almost there. Good for you. Masking needs to be worn, but Leslie and I are going to take some steps away so that when you see Josephine chanting her Haftorah and delivering her commentary, she's going to take her mask off. And that just wanted to make sure everyone understood how we're kind of trying to work through all of this, keep everybody healthy, that's the goal, and safe. And so, Josephine, we're all looking forward to hearing not just your Hebrew, but the words that have come to you as you grapple and wrestle with what all this means to you. And so, starting on page 24, and we're looking forward to it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzah v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch ata Adonai habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek v'haya mispar b'nei Yisrael kechol hayam asher lo yimad v'lo yisafer v'haya bimkom asher ye'amer lahem lo ami atem ye'amer lahem b'nei elchai v'nikbetu b'nei Yehuda u'b'nei Yisrael yachdav v'samru lahem rosh echad v'alu min haaretz ki gadol yom Yisrael imru la'achechem ami v'la'achotechem ruchama rivu v'imchem rivu ki hi lo ishti v'anochi lo isha v'taser zenunaha mipaneha v'na'afufeha mipen shadeha penafshitena aruma v'hitzagtiha kiyom hivalada v'samtiha chamidbar v'shamtiha ke'eretz tzia v'chamitiha batzama ve'et baneha la arachem kivanei zenunim heima kivanei ki zanata imam hovisha horatam ki amra elcha acharei machavai notnei lachmi umemai tamri ufishi shamni vishikuyai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Tzor kol ha'olamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol divarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'anvi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu liktusha v'limnucha L'chavod tifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umbarchim otach yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol hai tamid le'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat.
Nice and slow.
Bamidbar. The Torah portion for the week that I just chanted is the very first reading in the book of Numbers. It is about the Israelite census after they leave Egypt. Each man over the age of 20 is recorded by name individually. Each of them, by having their names counted, gives them some amount of responsibility. All of the 12 tribes were counted this way, except the Levites. The Levites were counted in smaller clans within the tribe. They had a different set of responsibilities, but they were still responsible for something. Putting their names on the list tied them to all the nation of Israel and to each other. When we put our names on that list, we are accepting our responsibilities. Every name has some meaning. My name, Josephine Maya, connects me to my family. Josephine after my maternal grandfather Joseph, and Maya after my other maternal grandfather Martin. My Hebrew name Yocheved Bina, that name Yocheved means God's glory, and my second name Bina means understanding, wisdom, and intelligence. These names connect me to being Jewish. They count me as one of the Jewish people. Once I am counted, I need to take on my responsibilities to God and to other Jews. What does it mean to be counted? Being counted symbolizes the reason or meaning behind why we are here. We need to do our part and make the world better. To make life meaningful is to treat every day like it is different from the last, and it's the day you can make a difference for someone else. There are more connections between our names and responsibilities in Judaism. Each year we ask God to put our name in the book of life. We ask to live another year and be better along the way. Do we have responsibilities related to that? Do we just get to live another year? God doesn't demand anything of us, but I believe we are given this year and we should expect ourselves to make use of it. Another year to really accomplish something. Another year to work on tikkun olam, repairing the world. As some of you may know, cheerleading is my passion. When I think about my team, I think about how we all need each other to succeed. Alone, we would not be able to do our routine or get a score at all. Every one of us counts. We wouldn't be a team without each other. Switching to a more global perspective, we all need to work together, like my cheerleading team, to change the world we're living in. One way to do that might be to help people that are less fortunate than us. For my mitzvah project, I made bags for the homeless. I really wanted to help people going through tough times. And as we all know, things have been very challenging lately. When you help someone, they feel like they count or matter too. I wanted to do my project on this because often when I'm driving to CRC, I see homeless people and people in need. I feel it is my role now as a Bat Mitzvah to help them. In my portion, I learned that everyone has their own responsibilities, to each other and to God, just like the 12 tribes in the days of the Torah. Everyone counts toward the greater good, so it is important that we all do our part.
Yeah. Josie. Thank you for those words. Really important. So we've got a treat for you, which is to give you a blessing. We have Rabbi Karen direct from maybe Creve Coeur. I don't know. There she is. And Rabbi Karen's going to talk to you. So there you go.
Hi, Josephine. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So, wow, you have done an amazing job this morning. A morning which we all know has been a long time coming. From leading us in prayer with so much confidence, to reading from the Torah and your Haftorah, to adding your own voice to the long line of people who speak on our tradition. You have shown us firsthand what it means to be a Bat Mitzvah, a daughter of our tradition. Throughout the service this morning, which you've done like such a great job, you've been sharing a piece of yourself with all of us, with the words you spoke a few moments ago about the importance of names, to the meaningful quotes you've chosen throughout the Siddur. And they all have something in common, making our world a better place. So there's this beautiful poem written by a man named Michael Walzer about the lines that you just read from the Torah. You read from the book of Bamidbar, Numbers, which means wilderness. And as a people, we are on our journey through the desert, 40 years of wandering through the wilderness, searching for the promised land. So the poem says at the very end, the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. Josephine, I am so impressed with your mitzvah project that you just spoke about, and it's also detailed on the last page of your Siddur. And this so perfectly captures your essence. You have shown us and taught us today what our world can look like when we join hands and move forward with kindness and with helping each other. So my blessing for you today, on this day of your Bat Mitzvah, is that you always share your gifts with those around you, and that you continue to lead us with the compassion and kindness that you have shown and so eloquently spoke about this morning. So there's a special blessing. I'm going to ask Rabbi Randy to come back up so I don't have to sing over the Zoomer verse or whatever we're on. But there's a special blessing that we say, which says, thank you, Holy Presence in our universe, for bringing us to this very special moment when you became a Bat Mitzvah.
Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, Shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Rabbi Carrie, you want to translate? Blessed
I
is
can
the
translate.
Holy One.
Oh, blessed is the holy presence of our universe for giving us life and for sustaining us and through one miracle after another bringing us to this moment.
Rabbi Karen. Josephine, your congregation, we're so glad that your family is part of CRC. Everybody just wishes they could just be here and celebrate with you. I know that. But we're not there yet, right? We're getting there, but we're not there yet. But all through this whole pandemic, CRC has been trying to figure out ways that we can let those who are becoming bat and bar mitzvah here know how much we love you and them and how much we want to be part of this. And so one of the ways is we've kept on asking, and they are so willing to do it, members of our board of directors, to video blessings and also to tell you about the gifts that we're giving you from CRC. And so Margie Weissman, who's been a member of CRC's board of directors for a very long time and is one of our religious school teachers, she was very thrilled to be able to record this video. And so next thing you're going to see on the big screen is Margie Weissman.
Mazel Tov, Josephine. This is such a wonderful and exciting day. My name is Margie Weissman, and I'm a member of the board of directors, and I'm so honored to be able to present you with gifts from our congregation. The first gift we have for you, Josephine, is this certificate that says that you have become a bat mitzvah and that 2 trees have been planted in your honor in Israel. One tree is going to be planted in a majority Jewish neighborhood and the other tree in a largely Arab neighborhood. And it is our hope and prayer that these 2 trees will grow together in a land filled with justice and peace, and that you will visit Israel often, and you will see the fruits of all that have been planted, and that you will come to love Israel. We also have for you, and this is the certificate for your trees. And Josephine, we also have for you a tzedakah box. And this tzedakah box has been made by a member of our congregation. And we know that you have given Mazel Tov, Josephine. This is
that you're going to keep on doing tzedakah, and now you got some help. So here's your certificate, live and in person. That's for you to keep and always have. And this is the tzedakah jar that Margie was talking about. So we're really proud of you, all of us at CRC, your rabbis and all the members and the board members. And I think everybody that's watching is just so thrilled to see the Bima again, and that you will always be the first B'nai Mitzvah back, after this really difficult time we've all lived through. So, Mazel Tov, and we're going to put the Torah back in the arks so we can conclude the service. So I'm going to ask those of you that are here to stand, please, and let's have Cooper come back to help open the ark again. And Leslie is going to sing Eitz Hayim. Page 26. You may be seated. Couple of announcements for the benefit of people who are watching, streaming. Just that to remind everyone that tonight, as we do every Saturday night, Rabbi Susan and Rabbi Jim will lead a Havdalah service from their home. The same way you're tuned into this Bat Mitzvah, you can tune back in for Havdalah 8 p.m. tonight. And then, as always, there's a whole number of adult education opportunities and Tikkun Olam opportunities. Check CRC's website where you got the Siddur. And if you receive our emails, you'll be up to date on everything that is going on. And so stay tuned. We have some in-person services coming in June, which you'll find more out about in the days to come. So that's pretty cool. But we also want to make sure that we don't leave this service and allow Josie and her family to celebrate without having a moment for Kaddish, for remembrance, for thinking about the people who came before us and whose shoulders we stand upon. And first, Josie, you have some remembrances of people that you and your family are remembering on this very special Shabbat.
I would like to remember my grandfather, Bert Gurwitch, my Aunt Rita Brenner, and my Auntie Sandy Gurwitch.
May all of their memories be a blessing. Is there anyone else here that wants to say a name? You could stand up. I'm sure those names are all names that are very important to you. So I'm going to ask Rabbi Karen to come back, who has a list of some of the people that we're remembering as a unity.
So as a congregational community, we remember Alvin Nissenbaum, Tammy Kevrick-Keim, Marcel Pollock, Bernard Tobin, Gary Rikus, Joan Klein, Michael Kiernan, Father Robert Johnston, Orietta Cohn, Dan Sokol, Dr. Erica E. Gartner, Herbert Fagan, Gail Hollifield, Alex Hochberg, and Ethan Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thinking about them. I want to give everyone at home an opportunity to say a name of someone you're remembering that whose name hasn't been mentioned yet, whether it's a yahrzeit, the anniversary of their passing, or whether it's a recent loss. We're thinking about all of you. I also want to mention I got a message this morning. Nancy Weigley, our development director, her aunt Madeline Canefield passed away, I think just today or yesterday. So we're remembering Aunt Madeline, Nancy's Aunt Madeline. And for all the people who were named from here, from Rabbi Karen and Rabbi Daniel's house, and from wherever you are, we are thinking about them. Their names are a blessing. Their memories are a blessing. And I'm going to ask everyone that is gathered to please stand so that we can say Kaddish for them all, for victims of warfare and violence and diseases, for all the people who we've lost to COVID. We have big enough hearts to have compassion for all the people who are in mourning for loved ones. And so on page 28, we have our ancient prayer of remembrance, Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, bagalau v'zman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mivarach le'olam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal, shemei de Keddusha berichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. And the prayer concludes with a prayer for peace, which Leslie and I will sing so that those that we're thinking of rest in peace, and those of us who continue to live with their memories also live in peace. O se shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Please be seated. Josie, I'm going to ask your parents to come on up to give you their special words of love and gratitude and blessing.
I am.
You'll be all right.
I'll go first, right?
You.
All right. Our sweet Josephine, as we stand here with you today, your dad and I could not be prouder of you, your accomplishments, and your grace under pressure. You have handled the ups and downs of your Bat Mitzvah beautifully. As we try to make sure you know every day, you continue to amaze us. We are incredibly blessed to be your parents and love you more than you could ever know.
Josephine, angel baby. Just a second. Okay. We love you. This is the part we're supposed to give you advice, and there's no surprise, there's a lot. First and most important, be kind. That may be the most consistent message we've given you for the last 14 years. So many good things come from having a kind heart. Friendship, love, respect, charity. The world needs as much of those things as it can get.
Second, be who you are. You are a bright, quirky, kind-hearted little girl. Never change. Know that you are so special and share that unique you with the world. Everyone you encounter will be made better because of that interaction. The light you shine, the encouragement you give, and the inclusion you portray is your gift to those you love.
Third, study. Don't just study what you have to, be hungry for knowledge. Being smart is easy. You've always been that, no work required. Being educated takes effort. Learn everything that interests you. No knowledge is a waste.
Fourth, be honest. This is harder than it sounds. Being honest while you're being kind takes empathy. You have that in spades. Without kindness, honesty can be cruel.
Fifth, work hard. This is something that comes easy to you when you love what you're doing. Like cheer. Try to take that motivation and discipline and apply it in cases where maybe what you're doing isn't quite as enjoyable.
And finally, live your life every day. As you know, your father and I are on the older side of the spectrum to have children your age. So take it from us and our experience. Life goes by so quickly. Try not to sweat the small stuff. Know you will make mistakes and try to learn from them. Try to raise yourself up rather than tear yourself down.
Our hearts are filled with love and joy and pride for all you've accomplished and the person you are. Congratulations. Let's get this finished. Yotzer Or.
Amen. Stay right there. Thank you. Very beautiful. Let's see. Cooper, come back and join your family. You guys can kind of count around the Vima. All right. So, Josephine, you hold that Kaddish cup. Cup of joy, and filled with sweetness. which you've helped fill all the spaces where we've gathered with sweetness and holiness. And so we'll make the blessing. I'll let you take a little sip of the juice that's in that cup. And so the juice that's in that cup. And this is for Shabbat and for you becoming Bat Mitzvah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Go ahead there. You say Amen. And l'chaim, to life. And now, I mentioned that we've been really, everyone at CRC wants to figure out ways that we can still connect to all of our wonderful B'nai Mitzvah families. And one of those ways is we have Judy Glazer, who's a member of CRC, Grandma Judy, as she's affectionately known. She's been baking challahs all year for every bar bat mitzvah we've had since March of 2020. And this is a Grandma Judy special. So this we hope you'll celebrate with as you go forward from CRC to wherever you're going to celebrate this bat mitzvah. But this is for you guys, so hold on to that, Josephine. You guys got, and yeah, a little heavy, right? And we'll make the blessing for not just for the bread and for whatever meal you're having after, but for gratitude for all that we have and all that we have to share with each other, like you've shared with through your mitzvah project, and all of us got to figure out ways to do more righteous sharing. So to make the blessing, and you'll get the first bite, of course, because you've been doing all the work up here. But if you want to share it. That's certainly part of the deal. So here we go. That's fair. That's fair. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Go ahead, have a bite. You guys can have yours after. You see, it takes a village. All right. So next up, you can put that right on the table, Jeff. Let's do this. Let's have you guys stand. Stay here, family. Rabbi Daniel, you think you can hand over the controls to Will there and come join us for the very last blessing? I think that's a yes. Rabbi Daniel, who couldn't have done this without him. So I want to make sure he's part of the blessing because he is a blessing, as are all of you. Thanks for being here. You have not only a story to tell about this wonderful bat mitzvah, but it's part of the journey that we've all been on. So we're going to ask, as much as you're comfortable, put your arms around each other. You can put your arms over each other, whatever works for you guys.
Get ace.
There you go. Glad you guys were here. You guys were the congregation in person. And this blessing's for you and for the world. Here we go.
Josie, wherever you go in life, and I know life is going to take you amazing places, may you always bring blessing with you. May you always bring the love of these people and of all of those people out there, wherever you go.
And may the light that has been all over this place, it's a beautiful, almost summer day, that's provided light, but mostly the lights come from you, Josephine, Yocheved Bina, that spiritual light that I think has transcended time and space, and I hope that light is always there to fill you with sweetness and warmth and love.
And wherever you go, wherever all of us go, may we always have the gift of peace. May there be more peace in the world, because I know you bring it to the world, in this city, in this country, everywhere that everyone needs it. And so we say, Amen.
Amen. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And Mazel Tov. Season Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Season Tov. Season Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Season Tov. Season Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Season Tov. Hinei Mah Toy. Semen Tovu, Mazel Tavu, Mazel Tov, and Semen Tov, Semen Tovu, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, and Semen Tov, Semen Tovu, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, and Semen Tov, Leilanu. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
It was an honor. She was perfect.